Perspectives.
I had a cat called Puss. Gorgeous, gorgeous tortoiseshell cat, and she was very much my friend, my protector maybe, my familiar. Because when I returned from the hospital with this PTSD, trauma, whatever you may use to describe it, she was always around me. And she used to sleep next to me most nights on my bed. She would usually sleep at the top of my head, and like a little hat, I suppose. It was really nice, actually. And I felt like she was part of my healing journey. I hate talking about this story, so apologies, but... And then that night happened. A man was speeding through the street late at night. Cars parked both sides, and Puss was out there on the street crossing the road. She didn't have a chance. She was hit head on and died instantly. At least I can be thankful for that. And the man got out of his car, and my mum instinctively knew what happened. I could hear some sort of an altercation coming from the window upstairs, and my mum had essentially leant out of the window and was shouting at this man in the street, is that a tortoiseshell cat? And he said, yeah. And she ran down the stairs. I could hear her clomping down and slammed open the front door. And there was Puss in front of this man's car that he was so important that he had to race through our street in his lovely luxury sports car. She lifted her up, and the man himself was just busy blaming the cat for getting in the way, never an apology or kind word. It was all about the fault of it being the cat. But anyway, my mum brought Puss to us, and she turned off the lights so we couldn't see how horrible her state was in, but we sat there with her and she explained what happened. Again, we were quite young then, but old enough to know about death and, life moving on essentially. I sat there and I couldn't believe it. I remember being numb, and Puss was there. I could see the outline of my friend, but I could see she, as her being, wasn't there anymore. She was gone, and I was distraught but numb, if that can be an ambivalence that even works. But yeah, and our neighbour very kindly took Puss's body into their garden just so we could have a night to process it. And yeah, our neighbours were great. They're so lovely. And I went to bed that night just feeling broken, like I didn't know what to do. It's like that cat was part of my soul. She was part of me recovering from my near-death experience. And I laid in bed just looking up at the ceiling. I couldn't sleep. And something happened. And it's the most visceral paranormal experience I've ever experienced. I felt something land at the end of my bed where my feet were laid. I looked over and thought something maybe had dropped on my bed. I could hear purring. Puss's purring was quite loud actually when she was alive. It was very distinct as well, a distinct rhythm, and I could hear it. And I shouted, "Puss?" And of course you wouldn't expect a cat to respond, but usually when I used to call her name she would come straight to me. And I leant up from laying on the bed just enough to look where my feet were. And what I saw is what I can only describe as the impressions of an object pushing down on the bed, just about the size of what a cat's paw would be. I could see it pushing down, then another one pushing down, and another one as if it was walking left to right, all the way up the side of my body. I felt like I should be freaking out at this point, but I felt at complete ease. I felt completely peaceful. It was like I was maybe hypnotised in some way or form. I could hear her purring. I could see the footsteps slowly move up the side of my body. It got louder and louder as it got closer to my ear. And at this point I could actually feel the heat of something there, as if a body was actually there. And I went up past my ear, up around my head, and it sat. I could feel the full weight above my head. I could hear her purring, and she always went to sleep, as I said, above my head, and it felt like she was there one last time. And I remember specifically putting my hand over my head to feel like, is she really there? My hand went straight through. There was nothing. And I knew this would be my last time with her. So I laid awake for, maybe a couple of hours. I was forcing myself to stay awake as long as I could because I instinctively knew this was my last time with her. And this haunting, imagine a haunting lasting 2 hours. It was relentless, and I was just there in this moment, not questioning anything, just being there, feeling her warmth, speaking to her, and eventually I fell asleep. The next morning I woke up. I immediately put my hand above my head to check if I could feel anything there. There was nothing, no purring, no weight, no warmth, and I knew she was gone. I woke up strangely feeling at peace. It's like I had a chance to say goodbye. And yes, I was sad that my best friend had gone, but I felt like in some way or form she did to say one final goodbye. In my heart of hearts, I knew that was Puss. I knew it wasn't any form of a mimicry. I knew it wasn't, I don't know, me wanting it to happen, maybe like a hallucination of sorts through trauma. It was as real as anything, and I saw it. And I never will forget that to the day I die in this life.